up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man, Maestro. Maestro, how are you doing today?
Outstanding, Bamboo. It's a long night of SimWorld Prep, great championship game. Haven't slept yet, which means I'm probably 5 minutes away from a bad decision, or at least a decision. I don't know if it's bad. That's going to lead to either a felony, a warrant, or me needing bail money. So, just saying.
I don't know if anything other than it being a bad decision then is an option there. If those are the only three options we got from it. Well, but yeah, that was a great game. Before we talk about that, this is Around the Table with Big Bob and the Maestro. I'm Big Bob, that's Maestro, and this is the podcast where we talk about whatever we want. So last night, Best Coast Ballers, Bay Area Breakers put on a great game. Bay Area came out on top 72-71. It was a close game, obviously. Thought Bay Area was going to run away with it at the very end. They were up by 4. Best Coast came down, hit a quick 3. And unfortunately, after that, for them, the game was essentially over. Bay Area tried to give them an opportunity, missed a free throw with about 4 or 5 seconds left or so, but Best Coast just couldn't make it count on the other end. You called that game last night, Maestro. What was your feelings? Obviously, we heard your feelings, but what are your feelings a little less than 24 hours later?
Well, I tell you something. Big Bob. The idea of that game was it never felt in hand, no matter what happened, and that is including the fact that Bay Area Breaker had 7 plays where they inexplicably pulled a shenanigan over the line thing where they gave the ball back to Best Coast, and it was just one of those realities of, as bad as it looked and as bad as that felt, somehow it felt like Bay Area was never ever out of the game. Even when they were down by 5 at one point, you start going, "Oh, this is a bad time."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the reality of it was players from Best Coast got cold at the wrong time, particularly their leading scorer, Ali Cortez, and I won't call him Oli today because I don't want to make fun of his name. But Ali Cortez got cold at the wrong time, and Barrier Breakers to just take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure Coach Pope is still riding high after that win, but obviously it's never too early to talk about the next season. So next season, SimWorld Prep Season 4. Who do you have as your favorite to come out on top in SimWorld Prep Season 4?
Oh, wow, Bob. It's so funny you would ask that because, I was trying to think of like one of those things. You know how when a season ends and all of a sudden they're talking about who's going to be the favorite for next year, who's going to be number one in the draft. I'm waiting for the day when like the Super Bowl ends in 2027 and they say, let's look at the draft from 2039. Who are the top,
Yep.
Right? Bust or boom or bust, but I have to say, the Philadelphia Elite proved themselves all season to be the toughest team. Unfortunately, came down with one of those endings of a games that you and I know about. That unfortunately, Coach Idris Williams had to live through. Again, another questionable call at the end of a game. But I want to throw 2 other names out there for everybody. One is the Heartland Zombie Stars, really came on toward the end of the season, and they played on a level under Coach Brian Lovelace. They played on a level that beat the teams they played where they are. And it's hard to do that, and especially when you look at the fact that a lot of times athletically, Heartland Zombie Stars were you would probably say, on paper outmatched, but they were able to utilize strategy, a lot of great high IQ work going on, and put themselves in positions to be a real thorn in the side all the way up until the semifinal game. So I think we should be on the lookout for them next season. And another team, well, Coach Lytle has gone from BTA to the Stripes, and I have a feeling that the Stripes might finally have a season under Coach Lytle that we've been looking for since they moved into SimWorld Prep. I think he's the leader to take them to the place where we can start to see the talent. They've had lots of talent. You know this very well. Finally start to pay off under his leadership.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, those are two good choices. I'm going to go with I guess we can call it the boring, easy choice. But Bay Area returns their three best players.
Yes. Yes.
That's an obvious choice. I know you're trying to stick away from them. I'm taking the low hanging fruit here. But
Hey.
they returned Jick J and Shane. I mean, one of the best threes in all of SimWorld Prep.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, they have a chance. They're always going to play well under Coach Dries Williams. But I don't know if they return. I don't know if not that they don't return enough because they still return Monty Parsons, and that's enough sometimes. But
Right.
I just don't know if I saw enough from their bench this season to make me real excited to put them up there. But you're right. I mean, the Stripes. The thing about the Stripes, we've been talking about them for what it feels like 40 years. Every year they're supposed to do something. I just feel like there's some. I'm going to disagree with you only because I feel like there's some witchcraft or something going on with the Stripes, because they absolutely ruined Rezared. I mean, this is a guy that should have come in and absolutely dominated the league. He was Trey Hyman 2.0, and which is a name I feel like probably a lot of people haven't heard in a while. He was Trey Hyman 2.0, and he just never ever was able to amount to anything in SimWorld Prep. Obviously, he will hopefully land on his feet in SimWorld U. But at 6'11", 260, I mean, you really don't have to do a whole lot. You just stand down there and pour in the points. But no, that's the only reason to disagree with you, just for a reason to disagree with you. There's some witchcraft or wizardry going on in Indy that I'm not sure any coach is going to be able to figure them out. But I do truly believe if I had to pick a team right now, who is going to be the team that wins SimWorld Prep Season 4's The Last Dance, if Coach Dre Pope is still there, because winning a championship at any level is going to get the next level calling for you. So if Coach Pope is still there, and not in SimWorld U next season, I'm going to say I have to go with Bay Area Breakers to win another championship.
I'm cannot disagree at all, boo.
But let's shift gears a little bit. We had a whole podcast not too long ago, really tied up around this one gentleman in the world of the SWFL who didn't have a home yet, and why we thought he didn't have a home and where we thought he might end up. And here we are, 2 weeks later, still doesn't have a home. Aaron Rodgers spent 6 hours in Pittsburgh the other day, still doesn't have a contract at the time of this recording. Do you think he is going to he's going to end up on a team? Someone's going to throw some money at him because they're desperate or something. But there's a lot of desperate teams out there that haven't excuse me, everybody, that haven't reached out to him.
Right.
This could be. Are we going to see a potential where 8 weeks into the season somebody goes down and Rodgers is still sitting out there, and then someone decides to sign him? Or do we think he is going to find a home this free agency cycle? What do you think?
Well, you brought me around on something there, partner. I thought about, there was something you said the last time we talked about this, and the more I thought about it, gosh darn it, Big Bob is just so smart. I love my fun size book. when you talked about the late season pickup, right, and how teams are handling their contracts and stuff right now, a lot of teams are in salary cap purgatory. Like, they're too close to do anything big, but they're not far away enough to do anything substantive. And a lot of teams, with the TV deal getting ready to come up and things like that, because the NFL just basically they have like 2 printers and they just print money all the time. Teams are realizing, if we're good enough for you to talk about, we're good enough for you to come to the game, we're good enough, we're going to make money no matter what. Even before a team in the league sells one ticket, between broadcast money, advertising money, the fact that if you buy a Pat Mahomes jersey, that jersey is split up 32 ways and the Chiefs get 2 shares of it and everybody else gets 1 share of it. So every team still gets money because of the profit sharing thing, right? So your worst run organization, which is no longer, it hasn't been the Jets for a while. I just say the Jets because I love the Jets. The Jacksonville Jaguars, before they don't sell any tickets wherever they're going to play, England, Cape Horn, the Moon, before they sell a ticket, they're going to get the same check as a team like, oh, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers or whoever, or whatever team was successful last year, and this year that check is estimated to be close to $1 billion, even before they sell one ticket, right? So I thought about so here's what you said that really kind of just set my butt on fire. It was teams realize I don't have to put up with his headache now.
Yep.
If I can get into the season and my quarterback gets hurt, or I can be going along the way and my quarterback starts getting questionable, I can reach out, I can get him on the couch, I get an instant media bump, I get to sell jerseys. His salary being picked up that way doesn't impact the cap. And more importantly, it gives me the bump and the attention, maybe another TV game or two, puts me in a position to make more money. Now, whether we win or not becomes, I won't say it becomes irrelevant because the guys really still play to win no matter what. Well, at least most of them do. But the idea is if I don't have to put up with the ayahuasca dude now, and I can wait and put up with him later with less of a financial impact on my team, I'd rather wait till later. And if I'm not good and we're not even close to the playoffs, guess what? I don't have to waste time dealing with him. I don't have to. Yep. Every press conference doesn't have to be about him sleeping in a cave with Attila the Hun or whatever he did, or just all the stuff that comes with him, And quite frankly, I believe, Bob, and I'll leave it here, I believe a lot of NFL teams have figured out if I can just limit my social and political headaches, I can make more money because I don't get protests. I don't get all those other things that come along with that black mark. I'm not the Cleveland Browns that I bring in a guy that likes to twiddle and diddle with massage therapists, and then I give him this outrageous contract that kills my team. A lot of I think a lot of teams have realized that I can play team manager and still be successful and make a lot of money.
Absolutely, and I think someone's going to take a shot on him. The Steelers right now with the team, with the offense that they have put together, they need something now. If
true.
he doesn't end up with the Steelers or the Vikings, my gut still says, I don't know. They've been talking to Ryan Tannehill. I mean, is anything gonna happen? I don't know. He's been sitting on the couch for a while, but my gut still says he goes the Brett Favre route. But if he doesn't land with the Vikings or Steelers, I can see him week 8, week 9. This would have been a perfect opportunity if this happened 3 years ago, or 2 years ago when Kirk Cousins went down and the Vikings were still kind of on the cusp. You have an Aaron Rodgers sitting out there. You can go, hey, we're kind of trying to make the playoffs right now, and we think we have a chance. Come play for us. Come on. It's only going to be a few more. It's only going to be half a season. We make the playoffs, great. We'll be on our merry way after, whatever. But if he doesn't land on the Vikings or the Steelers, I can see him sitting there. I don't see him retiring. I just don't think his ego is going to allow him to retire this way.
No. He is. You know what? I'm sorry to cut you off. He's too important to himself.
Yeah, and he's not going to let a team decide this is it. He's going to decide
that
this is it. But yeah, so one last time. Look, Maestro, we're on a roll right now. Kind of. We're still running a little bit over, but we're about to hit 3 topics in possibly under 20 minutes. Crazy. We'll make this last one quick. SimWorld U Hoopsteria. We got Alabama and Duke. We got everybody else. And we talk about oh, everybody, there's all these teams are going to make it. Everybody has a chance. And not everybody has a chance. Uh, you got Alabama, you got Duke, and then you got everybody else. You might be able to sneak in Kentucky up there, or something like that. But really, it's Alabama, Duke, their rosters, top to bottom, built perfectly, or as perfect as you can be. Who do you, if you, right now, if you were given the option to pick Alabama or Duke to win Hoopsteria, or somebody else, the field, which one would you choose?
So I was partly raised by a degenerate gambler who um she taught me something at the age of 2 or 3 years old about if you ever get a chance, unless it's an absolute sure shot and you got inside information, always pick the field. And her
Mm-hmm.
reasoning for that, oh, I'm sorry, by the way, this is this is my Aunt Geneva, by the way. May she rest in peace. Which I know she's not. She probably, as soon as she got to heaven, she started a fight because that's just how she rolled. Because if it wasn't a fight on a Tuesday night, then why am I even here? And I've heard her say that before, by the way. Um, so, but her idea was there are too many things that can happen for a surefire victory from anybody. And the example she gave, and I'll talk about this. The example she gave two examples. She gave about the Miami Dolphins' perfect season,
Mm.
and she talked about how that was the one time when key members got hurt. People forget all those legendary names from that team, with the exception of two, didn't play the whole season. Larry Zonkel, Bob Greasy. Those guys missed most of those seasons hurt. But whoever stepped in was able to fill in the gaps, and it worked out the way it was supposed to work out in terms of them getting that perfect record. She says that's not that's not usual, and she was absolutely right. She also talked about the very first Steelers um, title. They were led by a quarterback, Joe Gillum. Joe Gillum happened to be a black quarterback, so that means we would have got the how long you've been a black quarterback questions about 10 years earlier instead of Doug Williams getting it. He probably would have got it. But Doug Williams, Joe Gillum, please, Maestro, check me on this. I believe that's his name. He started off. He was a backup. He got the starting job that year. I think he led the Steelers to a 4-1-1 record, and then he blew out. He got hurt on the play and ended up hurting his arm trying to play through it. And that's when Terry Bradshaw took over. And
Mm.
Joe Gilliam was not able to. Unfortunately, that injury caused a lot of other problems for him that he took his whole life to overcome. But that's another story. I promise not to make it long. I promise to make it quick, and it's already failed. Too late. But that was a team where, like, she made a bunch of money on it. She said the reason she knew they were going to win was because the offense and the defense hated each other, because she knew people around the team. So she knew they hated each other. So it wasn't like, oh, our quarterback is down, let's feel sorry for ourselves. The defense could care less. So even though Gilliam was liked in the clubhouse, or in yeah, even he was clubhouse is baseball, locker room is football. Even though he was liked in the locker room, those two, the offense and defense, hate each other so much. She knew that it wasn't going to break stride with the team, and of course it did. They went on to win the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. So that being said, in this particular case, I got sorry, Auntie, but I got to look at Alabama or Duke against the field, because they were just so strong at the right time, at the right moment. Games we thought that they were gonna at least be challenged, they weren't. Games that we thought that they would blow out, they didn't, but they still played strong. It's just hard to go against those two teams right now.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. I'm going to go real quick back to Joe Gilliam. Did start that season 4-1. He didn't get
Okay.
hurt though. He got benched because he ignored the game plans and everything from Chuck Noll, and they said you're not going to ignore the coach, and they benched him.
See, okay. I don't know where you
He
got
did
that from.
himself. He did himself
I got
in.
it from I got the information from being hurt, and I probably shouldn't have said anything. Firsthand from players that were on that team that were either coaches or in the media that I actually met and spoke with on different stories. I don't know where that came from, but I got the inside story on that. So I think I just made a boo boo. Anyway,
No.
yeah, because and oh, by the way, one of the guys who told me the story spoke at Joe Gilliam's funeral because they were tight. So yeah. So
Maybe
I don't know.
maybe that was true. Maybe he was hurt And that's why it looked like he was ignoring the game plans. He was just,
There you
he just
go.
didn't get,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. It's still a true story.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, it's hard. It is hard to pick against Duke and Alabama. Anything can
Yeah.
happen in sports. Anything can happen on any given day. But it's real hard that those top tier elite teams, it's really, really hard to pick against them. There are some other teams record wise, like Villanova, Virginia Tech, all up there
Hmm.
with them.
Hmm.
But just talent wise, from top to bottom, I just don't see anybody beating out Alabama and Duke.
And
But
everybody else is so inconsistent.
they
Bob,
are.
everybody else is so inconsistent.
They are, absolutely. And people talk about North Carolina making a run and all this stuff, and it's like, uh, they're not beating anybody. These teams aren't
No,
beating. These teams that are making these runs
no,
aren't beating anybody of significance right now. Duke and Alabama, they
no.
drop games here and there, but you're not going to see Duke and Alabama go on. Not with, you got Cooper Flag and Ogauskas and all these other guys, and Roderick Little, all these guys on the court. You're not going to see the Dukes. You're not going to see the Alabamas with DJ Childs and that. You're just not going to see them go on these really, really long losing streaks or poor shooting nights or anything. They have so many tools on their team that if this
Right,
guy
right.
doesn't score, this guy's going to score. If this guy's slacking on defense, this guy's going to pick up. And a lot of these other schools, they just don't have that. So that's why Alabama, Duke, hopefully they get to play each other in the championship game if that's an opportunity.
Hey now.
I
Hey now.
I do love me some Cinderellas, but I yeah, you can't go against Duke and Alabama right now unless you're a homer.
Yeah.
I just can't
Yeah.
go against either of them right now. But no, Maestro, that's look at that. Oh, Maestro.
Oh.
We went over 20 minutes,
Oh.
but we got 3 topics. We got 3 things in this time, so at least there's
My
some stuff
fault.
you can
My
chop
bad.
in. We're good. Do you have any final words for the people?
Appreciate everything everybody's been doing, and I really appreciate the support that everybody's giving me for stepping in to work with my dude. A lot of great people who's been in this chair, and not saying that they're never gonna come back because we like to mix it up here. But me being here now, working with my fun side SWU is something I've been wanting to do since I've been here. But everybody who's been supporting me with that, I just want to say thank you. And thank you for all your support this year during the prep season. Can't wait to do it more. I'm going to stick my nose in some SimWorld U eventually.
Well, thank you, Maestro. We appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for listening as always, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.